Former President Donald Trump has just posted a bond that will stop E. Jean Carroll from being able to collect $83.3 million from a defamation judgment against him. Now, this might sound like a point against him, but actually this gives the billionaire former president a little bit of time to appeal the case and, more importantly, continue to pursue the presidency. This also shows how carriers are competing with Trump's businesses, as the bond agreement effectively means that Trump offered some form of collateral to the federal insurance company, which they were all too happy to accept. Now he has the room to make some legal countermoves of his own. For example, new documentary evidence shows that the FBI tracked the phone location of Trump's personal assistant to prove he hid boxes of presidential documents before federal agents raided Trump's Florida estate. Something they could probably use in a countersuit against the government. At least Trump was pretty happy about the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to consider his presidential immunity claim in the federal election interference case in Washington, especially as he's been told by his team that it could mean there may not be a verdict before the 2024 election. Ty Cobb, who served as the White House attorney under former President Donald Trump, argued that the facts are terrible in his multiple legal cases and that it's probably been very difficult for him to navigate the various battles. So does it all amount to a government-sponsored smear job against the former president? Let's take a look at the facts and let's uncover the truth behind the headlines in today's analysis video. So stay right there, guys. So here's one of Trump's attorneys talking about how desperate the other team is just to get the man. Check this out.
Things like asking the Department of Justice to investigate election fraud, communicating with members of Congress about the same, communicating with state officials about election fraud in the 2020 election. These are all presidential acts. And for acts like that, we believe that a president would first have to be impeached and convicted by the House and Senate before he could then be prosecuted. That's the constitutional design. That's how our system is set up. And we think that Jack Smith, the special counsel, and his team are running roughshod over core constitutional principles in their haste to get Trump.
The question is, in their haste to get Trump, but the question remains, will they get the billionaire former president? Trump certainly isn't going down without a fight. So first, there's the defamation case against E. Jean Carroll. Former President Donald Trump has posted a bond that will stop E. Jean Carroll from being able to collect $83.3 million from a defamation judgment against him. So the bond, totaling $91.63 million to reflect mandatory interest and fees, it allows Trump some time to appeal the case and continue to pursue the presidency. Without it, Carroll's lawyers could have moved to enforce the judgment and go after Trump's assets following the deadline this week. And just to kind of explain it to everyone, the bond agreement effectively means that Trump offered some form of collateral to the federal insurance company, commonly known as Chubb, to guarantee that the cash would be there if he lost his appeals and the judgment was enforced. Neil Peterson, the owner of the Manhattan surety bond agency Peterson and Sons, theorized that Trump would have shopped around for the lowest premium, and there may have been more than one carrier competing for his business. So yeah, lenders know Trump is good for his word. And with the bond in place now, U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan, who oversaw Carroll's defamation trial case against Trump, can pause Carroll's ability to collect the judgment. All the better for Trump to pursue his appeal for the case. And the money is still technically his. It's not really Carroll's win here, as the cash will remain on ice, likely collecting interest in a dedicated interest-bearing bank account until the appeals are exhausted. So Trump's lawyers are appealing the defamation verdict and have argued in a court that Kaplan erred by not allowing Trump to talk more on the witness stand. They're also arguing that the damages are too high. Trump attorney Alina Habba said that the bond was posted that due to the numerous prejudicial errors made on the lower level, they are highly confident that the circuit court will overturn this egregious judgment. Now, Trump is going to face the judgment he owes in the New York Attorney General's civil fraud lawsuit against him and his company. He has until March 25th to obtain a bond for the $454 million verdict that he owes in that case, an amount that grows in interest each day and exceeds most estimates of his cash holdings. Already, people are pouring in their help via the GoFundMe started by Elena Cardone, wife of real estate billionaire Grant Cardone. Last check, it accumulated $1.3 million with 23.8 thousand donations all put together. Definitely a lot of Trump supporters there. And the Cardones could certainly pitch a whole lot themselves. An entrepreneur and property mogul, Grant Cardone's net worth is estimated at just under $600 million, at least according to Celebrity Net Worth. Financial advisory website Equity Atlas even reports that his actual net worth in 2023 was around $2.5 billion. Like it said on their GoFundMe, they stand unwaveringly with President Donald Trump in the face of what they see as unprecedented and unfair treatment by certain judiciary elements in New York. There's definitely a double standard there. See, why doesn't Congress go after these illegal insider trading crimes? Martha Stewart went to jail for it, and an ethics violation that should get them out of politics. But no, they chose to just throw the case after Donald Trump in the hopes that something will stick to the former president. But hey, the man just keeps swinging them out of the park. Wouldn't you guys agree? Be sure to subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our future updates like this one. So now the other team better pay very close attention, because Trump could easily turn the tide on them with some potential counter lawsuits of his own. For one, the FBI tracked his phone location of Donald Trump's personal assistant to prove he hid boxes of presidential documents before federal agents raided Trump's Florida estate. For context, the former president is facing 40 federal charges over his handling of sensitive materials retrieved from his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida, after leaving the White House in January 2021. He is accused of obstructing efforts by federal authorities to return them. Trump has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Now, this new evidence revolves around Walt Nauta, Trump's former personal assistant, and Carlos de Oliveira, a Mar-a-Lago maintenance worker who was accused of moving boxes of sensitive materials around Trump's Florida home to prevent federal agents from finding them, and conspiring to delete security footage that had been sought under a subpoena. Nauta and de Oliveira have pleaded not guilty to all federal charges against them, including conspiracy to obstruct justice. Now, apparently, FBI agents obtained search warrants in Washington, D.C. for Nauta's Verizon cell site data and for his Google location data. The cell site data would show which phone towers Nauta's phone was nearest to on the days that he's accused of hiding documents in Mar-a-Lago. Similarly, the Google location data also collected from Nauta's phone would show his location at the time of the alleged crime. So yeah, definitely sounds like a solid case of government reach and breach of privacy, especially if you look at it from a different angle. But what do you guys think? And hey, this may all be relevant come November, right? Especially since the Supreme Court just basically made sure that their latest decision could mean that there might not be a verdict before the 2024 election. Now, of course, I'm talking about their decision to consider his presidential immunity claim in the federal election interference case in Washington. See, our former president has hoped for months that the trial itself might not occur before November, and now the nation's highest court set oral arguments in the presidential immunity claim for the week of April 22nd, meaning that even if the justices ruled expeditiously by the middle of May, the probability of a trial concluding before the election has become very slim. So Trump's lawyers predict even if the trial does occur before the 2024 election, a jury might not even return a verdict before voters decide whether to give him a second term. Add to that Trump's sweeping during the Super Tuesday primaries. Nikki Haley finally admitted defeat, as many Republicans have always considered her to be a rhino, a Republican in name only. Some even say that Nikki Haley should be fined for impersonating a Republican. She's so wishy-washy that people doubt if she's even needed in office. They already theorize that she's going to probably switch to Democrat just so she can get any power at any cost. You know what I mean? But hey, let's focus on Trump here. The fact that there might not be a verdict on the case brought by the special counsel Jack Smith, it's potentially significant for his electoral prospects, because internal and public polling has indicated a conviction in any of his criminal trials could be fatal for his campaign. In a recent Bloomberg Morning Consult poll of 7 critical swing states, for instance, as many as half of voters said that they would be very unwilling or somewhat unwilling to vote for Trump if he was convicted in any one of the criminal cases. Trump advisors claim that it's all political prosecution, and the Washington jury pool skewed Democratic. Ty Cobb, who served as White House attorney under former President Donald Trump, argued that the facts are terrible in his multiple legal cases, and it's probably been very difficult for him to navigate the various battles. I mean, it certainly is a lot to wrap your head around. Trump has teams of lawyers dedicated to each one of his cases. Us, we've got each other. In the upcoming days, we're going to see a lot of action in these cases, so you better pay attention. Special counsel Jack Smith and his team is due to face off with Trump's lawyers in the next few days in Judge Eileen M. Cannon's Florida courtroom over 2 of Trump's dismissal motions. We expect at a minimum several days of such hearings before the trial, giving us more opportunity to see how Cannon, a relatively new and inexperienced judge, is handling this high-profile matter. For now, the big question remains: when will this trial be held? Cannon could rule at any time. In Georgia, we're expecting a decision from Judge Scott McAfee on on whether District Attorney Fannie T. Willis will be disqualified from her Trump case because of a romantic relationship with the lawyer that she hired by the name of Nathan Wade to oversee it. By McAfee's own self-imposed deadline, that decision could come this week. In New York, we're waiting to see if Judge Juan Mercham, who's overseeing the trial due to begin a little bit later on over a 2016 hush money payment, will impose a gag order. So Trump is already the subject of a federal gag that limits what he can say about most, but not all of, the people involved in the trial in D.C. for allegedly conspiring to obstruct the results of the 2020 election. We're also waiting to see if Trump can put together a bond for more than $450 million to cover a civil fraud judgment against him and his namesake company. The former president faces a March 25th deadline to figure out the financing for this whopping penalty. Last week, Trump secured a $91 million bond to cover a different court judgment against him. I definitely would not miss the next few updates, guys. Always stay subscribed to the channel, tap that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in our next one.